Phil Middlemas, and I've been an actor for 30 years. Recently, I've started a production company with a view to doing a project which has been a passion of mine. It's a production called Waggy's Tale. A great friend of mine, Malcolm Wagner, was best mates with George Best, and this is the story of their great friendship. This is the untold story.
Things were happening in Manchester. It was so vibrant and so colourful, and working class boys were in bands making music. The Hollies, the Bee Gees, all around that time, the Beatles, so that the time was just spectacular, and George emerged from that as the first footballing celebrity. Bestie used to like being with stars because they all wanted to be with him.
All the social life, never mind the football, centred around George and several nightclubs and his mates Waggy and people like that. You know, we were a tight little team actually, and we had a great time. Some of it, thankfully, I can't remember. What I can remember makes me smile.
We had 4 or 5 clubs within a mile, of course, everywhere that Bestie went. You know, the other people would gather. We opened Slack Alice. It just took off like a rocket.
And Slack Alice was the place to be in those days. She always made them welcome, and everybody wanted to talk to him, everyone.
It only held 400 people, but we'd have 400 people a night, 7 days a week.
Waggy was very protective of him, although he'd never admit it.
Malcolm was a great friend. He's a nice man, he always has been, and he was a big help to George.
But Malcolm was always there in the background, not really looking out for him, but always watching who was coming to him, and yeah, they were very, very close. They're almost like brothers. They were great friends.
George used to come in every day after training to the barbers, which of course made the barbers very, very successful.
Malcolm used to do my hair, and his dad used to shave me.
I remember those times in Manchester as if they were yesterday. George and I had 2 places. One was called Slack Alice, one was called Oscars. They were full 24/7, 365. We had just the best time ever. Elton John came in, and it was funny he was there early one night and the lights had gone. And the boys were trying to fix it, and the doorman said to him, "We've got an electrician." And Elton John said, "Well, I used to do a bit of electrics at one time." And they got the ladders out, and they went up the ladders and fixed whatever it was. It was incredible. One night Mick Jagger was at the door with a team of dancers called the Harlem Dance Theatre, I think it was. And the doorman came to me and said, "Malcolm, there's a fellow at the door called Mick Jagger, but he's got about 25 people with him, and they're all jumping up and down." I said, "Who did you say?" He said, "Mick Jagger." He said, "What shall I do?" I said, "Let him in. For God's sake, let him in." Anyway, they came in and they just took over the dance floor. And everybody just moved, whoever was on the dance floor just moved out of the way. And they must have spent an hour dancing.
Manchester. Blinkers United, the Glamour Girls 11, prepared for their charity football match against an all-stars team. Captain of the shapely lineup was Eve Harrelstead, former girlfriend of soccer star George Best, who was in the showbiz side. With Best in goal, the lassies got some shooting practice while Mike Summerby donned a disguise. The first attempt came from the ladies, but the All-Stars regained possession and cut a dash through the female defence, only to find that George Best had changed sides. The girls disagreed with the ref's award of a free kick and made up their own rules. This was more in their line.
If they get any shorter, they'll have 2 more cheeks to pat it.
Victory was very sweet for some, but the fellas had to get their own back somehow. They found the answer in foam.
It goes without saying, and if you speak to any of George's peers, if you speak to Mike Summerby or to Dave Sadler or to Paddy Crown or any of the boys, they will tell you that Bestie was the first celebrity footballer, and they all owe him a debt of gratitude for what he brought to the game and what he brought to the celebrity status of the footballers as they are today.
There are so many people who want to be a part of this documentary. So many people who were a part of the 60s. Mike Summerby, Sir Michael Parkinson. Yes, we've got Graham Gulman who's going to do an original score for us. Member of 10cc and the Whirlwinds, Malcolm's old band.
We never had anything to shout about. There was nothing. There's no good news coming out in Northern Ireland, bar one, and that was our George. That was the only positive thing we had.
Best footballer ever played. You know, you can model him like Maradona, Eusebio, Pelé. Maradona, he modelled his career on George. He wanted to be George Best. I wanted to be George Best. Everybody wanted to be George Best.
Part of what we're doing is to tell the untold story of my relationship with George and the time in Manchester. We have unseen footage, we have unheard audio, and we have a host of famous faces who were part of that scene.
Michael Parkinson once said, if you weren't in Manchester in the 60s, then you weren't really in the 60s. This is not just a story about a footballer, a unique footballer. This is a story about a man, a time. All of these people lived in that time and they've all got their own stories to tell. The stories involved there with Bernard Manning, the Embassy Club. We've got people like Fred Doan, Bet Fred. We've got the QSG, the Quality Street Gang. Everything has to have a gangsterish element to it. All of these things we're going to combine to make this smorgasbord, this fabric that we look at. It's going to be completely different and it's going to be completely unique.
Mick well, everybody loved George. He was like the local hero. George was a sweetheart. He was a lovely, lovely man. I mean, he was just very attractive, smart, funny in a dry way, very generous. That's right, he was lovely.
When George was 27, he hopped on a plane with Malcolm. They went to North America, they went to South America, they went to Mexico, they ended up playing with waiters on a beach. This is a fun story. This is not going to drag George and everything else down to the level that we've seen. This is not an autopsy film.
My mate Phil is on the other side of the camera now. We had great times together doing about football, actually, called Bostock's Cup, which was a spoof about football. And we had many a good laugh together. And Waggy's Tale is a fantastic story.
The biggest selling genre in documentaries at the moment is biographical. If you take Amy, Senna, Ronaldo, the new Oasis one, Supersonic, that's what we're going to target with George, who has 38 fan clubs all over the world. The man is a legend.
Why Philip? Well, he's been a mate for a long time and he spent the formative years, like me, in Manchester. And we rocked and we rolled and we did everything he shouldn't do for 10, 11 years together. He knows Manchester, he knows Waggy, he knows New Bestie, and he knows all about Manchester. Good and bad and naughty and perfect. And he's the man to shoot this. And I'll tell you what, I'll friggin' watch it.
What we're going to do is bring people who were part of this story and we're going to tell it the way we want to tell it.
George wrote a book called Blessed. I should have written one called Lucky, because I was so lucky to have been part of that time and part of his life.
So why now? Well, this is a story that we want to do justice to. And with your help, we can.